If we had such arrangements, mistakes like what happened in Libya would not have happened. Because I remember on the issue of Libya, I was a member of the Committee of Five. I hear rumor that I'm still a member, although it never meets. There was a Committee of Five on Libya. I think chaired by Jacob Zuma, or either Jacob Zuma or Sassou Nguesso. We were members of that committee to bring peace in Libya, and we were going to do it. And actually, at that time, I didn't go, but I sent a representative, and the African leaders were in the aircraft going from, I think, Mauritania to Libya, in the air. When they were told, go back, Libya is being attacked. Can you imagine? African leaders, former colonials are attacking an African country against the wish of the African Union. This is a very big mistake for this generation to accept. Very big mistake. Now you see the chaos which came from that. So who is accountable for this? These crimes. These are crimes against humanity, which they keep talking about. But if we had been in the Security Council, actually some of the African countries were there, but they took their own position, which was not correct. Our collective, we had met in Addis, we had said, keep out of Libya, we shall settle it. But some of the people did not listen. But if we had been there with the orders of the African Union, that one would not have happened. Or if the majority of the African Unions had supported the intervention, then the attack would have happened with our consent. Now, there is another confusion, trying to use the side of the economy to decide who should be in the Security Council, who should represent Africa. They come and take measurements. Who is fat now? They bring a tape measure to see who is fat now, who is the fattest. But the one who is fat now may be small tomorrow. And the one who is small may be fat tomorrow. This confusion must stop. And selfishness, we're wasting our time. Germany's economy is now bigger than either the economy of UK or France. So what do we do now? We should remove France and UK from Security Council and put Germany, because Germany has got a big economy now. What logic is this? And what are you looking for? All these African countries, these economies are, that's why we call them underdeveloped. They have a big potential. This size you see, economy, Uganda, this now, is not the size of, it is like a young child. When you say a young child, you say this is the size of the child. This is a young child. He will grow and become a giant. So that should not be waste our time. Finally, it is time to bring to the high table the defeated belligerents of the Second World War, Germany and Japan. You know, those fellows are out. Germany, because this UN system is for those who won the second inter-imperialist war. But supported by Russia. Russia was a big player. Although it was not among the club, but it actually did the biggest fighting against Hitler for their own reasons. So these are the ones who are in that Security Council. The defeated fellows are out. Germany, Japan, and Italy. Italy, of course, had also been part of that. But in my opinion, this should now come. Why? We want reconciliation and forget past mistakes. Why do you continue to punish a student of imperialism and aggression when you have never punished the teacher, the actual imperialist countries, as per 1900? Because the imperialist countries who colonized us, the position of Germany and Japan was a question. Because since the First World War and the Second World War were started by the new imperialist powers. When Germany was unified in 1871, became one country. Germans were not one country. There were 39 kingdoms actually, scattered. Prussia, Bavaria, Saxony. Then they had a pan-German movement to unite Germany, and then eventually they got united in 1871. So they became strong because they were united. Now the mistake they made was to compete. Then Italy was united in 1860. But by that time, the other imperialist countries, Britain, France, Portugal, Spain, had already grabbed different parts of the world. India, South America, the United States itself. So these new imperialists, they came with, this is unfair.
Enjoy free.
You have got more slaves than me. What should I do? I also need slaves. This is how the war started. The First World War. Actually, the old imperialists tried to pacify Germany. So they called a conference in Berlin, 1884, 1885. They were called, Bismarck actually is the one who called it. You come. I also need a share of the colonial possessions. So they say, please, Germany, don't fight. Let's give you something. They gave Germany Tanganyika, Rwanda, Burundi, Namibia, Togo, I think. Say, please, you take this. Don't fight. And Bismarck seemed to have kept quiet. But other groups in Germany said, no. What do you mean? You give us Tanganyika and Rwanda. When you have got the whole of India, we also need more. That's how the First World War started. And then the Second one. So the Germans were trying to copy the example of Britain and France and Portugal and Belgium and so you cannot punish the student and you forget about the teacher when you have not punished the teacher. Because the question was, why should UK, France, Portugal, Belgium, etc. have colonies and we do not have, yet we are now powerful countries? This was the argument. But the other weakness was ourselves. This one you should not forget. The other weakness, it was also the shallowness and the refusal of our chiefs to change that created the internal weaknesses that lured the wicked. You should not forget that. Like, for instance, here in East Africa, this is why I will never forgive our chiefs here, our traditional leaders. You remember Vasco da Gama went around Cape Town in 1498 and landed on Christmas Day in now what is now called Natal in South Africa. And he continued from there. He came and bombarded Mombasa and went to India. This is 1498. So our wonderful chiefs here in the interior of East Africa knew that a new powerful group of people are coming. You wonder why they could not get together and prepare to defend us. Just full of themselves, putting on monkey skins, looking like clowns, saying they are powerful like lions when they are nothing. So you can imagine Vasco da Gama passes by our coast 1498. The first white man to come here. For us, we had never seen a white man. The first non-black person to come here was an Arab called Ibrahim in 1841. We had never seen a non-black person. So when the Ugandans saw it, they said he had no skin. They thought that he was just, because they knew that people with skins must be black. The first white man to come here is 1862. Huntington Peak. This is 364 years from the time of Vasco da Gama. What were these wonderful chiefs doing? Knowing that danger is coming, but doing nothing, just showing off with big stomachs and so on. This is part of the problem.